Good afternoon. Welcome to Jerusalem. We're here at the Yeshiva Nar Shalom, and this is going to be one of those talks that, well, I'm not sure how it's going to end up. I'll try to control myself. I call it $5 a dog, and bear with me. But one of the Shabak superior officers came out and said that under investigation of Hamas terrorists, they admitted that they were offered $10,000 per Jewish kidnap victim. And not only were they offered $10,000 a Jew, which sounded like, that's more money than the Polish people got when they turned Jews into the Nazis. They also were promised an apartment. Now, I don't know what kind of apartment it's going to look like. I don't know what kind of apartment's going to be left over there. But the night before, we had a video of a young woman who escaped from the attack on the festival outside Gaza, and she said men, women, and children were pouring through the fences. And she saw them, and they were laughing, and the husbands were bragging to their wives that they were going to make Jewish women dirty. You know what that means, dirty? Telling their wives. And yelling, get the old man and the young kids because they're easier to kidnap. $10,000 a person, might as well round up 3 or 4. So the alarm went off. I guess that's, we can interpret that later. But bear through it. The alarm is fitting. And this woman was describing what she went through, and it was horrific. It was a movie that no Hollywood producer ever produced. Guaranteed. So, who were all those extra terrorists that day, October 7th at 6:30 a.m.? They were Palestinian people. They were not registered Hamasniks. They were Palestinians in search of a little payday. And they were there with their children and their carts and their motorcycles and their iPhones. And they were running from house to house, looking for people to kidnap and looking for any kind of wealth that they could put in their knapsack. Who are we dealing with, my friends? What does the Western mind deal with when you see this reality? This is a reality of a people and its character. This is not a moment in time and space that disappears because it's no longer on the news. This is a people who are living in another era, another millennium. Okay, I'm an Orthodox Jew. You could say, of course I'm biased. Well, let's talk some more. In the city of Hebron, the holy city of the patriarchs, where I sometimes broadcast and show up for midnight prayer when I merit, there was a dog problem, and it's still there, by the way. If you go there at night, you cannot believe what you will see. You will be chased by dogs. Guarantee you, if you're on foot, your life is in danger. And the dogs, they don't listen to anybody. These dogs, and they're independent, but they run together. And it's a real blight. It's really hard for everybody, Arabs and Jews. So not long ago, the mayor of Hebron, who is more like a sitting mafia boss, issued a decree that anybody who brings to him a dead dog will get 20 shekels, which is about $5. $5 a dog. I'm laughing. It's not really funny. But listen, people were showing up with pickup trucks filled with dead dogs. Trucks full, piled up to the city commission. They want their $5 a dog. Well, of course, word got out from the Israeli press to the European press, and the word got out, I guess, to the PETA people and the European equivalent. And in Europe, a cry went out. A cry went out of outrage about these poor dogs, their throats slitted. How could you do this? How could you treat these poor innocent animals? And if you saw one of these dogs, you would run. You wouldn't even bother trying to pull out your knife. And the outcry was so strong that the mayor, who is a little thicker skinned than the type of people that we know, he rescinded his order, no more $5 a dog, because of the outcry. My friends, where is the outcry about the $10,000 a head for Jews? Where is the outrage? Where is the EU now? Where is the Senate now? Where are the other leaders? I guess Jewish life is cheap to some people. But it's not cheap. It's not cheap at all. Because the world doesn't know what's going to happen to it if they don't respond differently this time, during this Shoah, this one-day Shoah. If the world doesn't learn and fix its response to the terror of the Jews, what do you think is going to happen? It's going to be better in the streets of every major city in America and in Europe? You think marching with flags and screaming, Allahu Akbar, is going to be the end of it? If you think you're safe on this planet, you better make sure you know everybody on your island. Okay, who are we dealing with? Hamas, just Hamas, paid terrorists of Hezbollah and Iran, and Qatar, and Saudi. They got big pockets. Are they separate from the Palestinian people that were running through the fences like children going off to a carnival, adjusting their little green headbands, talking into their phones? Shooting while driving, shooting while running their motorcycle down a dirt road. It's a video game. Where's the outrage? It's all swallowed up in the media, and the media will be the first to be called to question, the first to be investigated for their own response, their own lack of responsibility to humanity, to decency and dignity. So all the 5-letter media outlets don't think you're safe. You're not safe in your towers in Manhattan, or in London, or in Paris, or in Brussels, or in Stockholm. You're not safe anywhere. And if you think you're safe in your tower, wait till you get home. Because the judgment is out. The word is out. Elohim Shama et Davar. God has heard, God knows. Every word that gets printed and every word that doesn't get printed. Where is the outrage for the $10,000 a head Jew? What is this? You know, the OK Corral, the 1880s in the new territory of Arizona, and whoever's got the biggest six-shooter wins. But let's bring it down. Calm down, Abraham, I tell myself. What are we dealing with? For years, I learned in the Arab quarter of the old city. I walked in on foot every day. I passed all the Arab merchants. Some of them got to know me. And you know, more than once, more than 5 times. You know, it's in the middle of the afternoon. Kids are getting out of school. There's 6, 7, 8-year-olds fighting in the street. Okay, kids fight, right? So do 6 and 7-year-old kids from every other community. But these kids were going at it in a way that was frightening. They were fighting like it was for keeps, do or die. And the worst part, their fathers were standing around watching, laughing, watching their kids fighting each other to the clawing, biting, scratching, kicking. The fathers were standing around watching their sons fight. MMA, Palestinian style. Who are we dealing with? What level are we dealing with? I'll tell you what level. Rabbeinu HaRambam, Ramosha ben Maimon, the great sage of Spain and of Egypt and of Eretz Yisrael, of all Am Yisrael, he writes in his great book, the Yad HaZakah, that before the Torah was given, if a woman was walking in the market unattended, a man could go in, take her over his shoulder, and carry her home. There was no 911. There was no police emergency number. If she didn't have a brother with a stout brother, or an uncle, or a father, or a cousin there, she was kidnapped, taken home. And you know, let's say 99.9% of the time she was raped. This was before the giving of the Torah. The Torah was given 3,330 years ago. So we're talking what, about 1500 BC. That was the rule of the day. That was the community of that time. For the most part. Of course, there were ups and downs, better people here, less involved people there. But understand the mentality. The barbarian mentality is, it's there, I take it. And if it's not protected, it's available. And so I can easily walk through the hole in the fence cut by somebody, bring whatever weapon I have, and look around for an opportunity. So, for me, the way I'm seeing it, and I'm willing to debate, I'm willing to talk about it, like men, like gentlemen, like people of values. The way I see it, we're dealing with a pre-modern, a pre-Torah level of person. You call it subhuman, you could call it barbaric, you can call it the mass hordes of the pagan world. Whatever you call it is not the point. The point is they have a mindset. And we have a mindset. We're Western 21st century human beings. And we're Jews on top of it, which gives us a very great sensitivity to justice, because we spend our lives working these books of justice called the Torah and the Oral Torah and the Talmud and the Halakha and the Zohar. So we have a certain mindset, and they have a different mindset. It's 3,500 years older than our mindset. Now, can I approach them with my mindset and understand them? No. And as a Western politician, can you get off your plane at the airport and go visit the Arabs and visit Hamas and expect that they're going to appreciate and understand and respect your 21st century mindset? Do you think Joe Biden really means anything to any of them except that he's writing checks and making phone calls to help them? Do you think Joe Biden understands that his mindset and their mindset are 3,500 years apart and will never meet? And if we think otherwise, we're doomed to make the same mistakes that the Poles did and every other country that believed and signed peace deals with the Nazis before the outbreak of World War II. People didn't understand who Nazis were, and they didn't understand their leader. And they paid a severe price. So did the Russians. And all of Eastern Europe. Because they don't understand. If my enemy has a different mindset, I have to enter his mindset. If it's $5 a dog and 10 grand a Jew, okay, those are the rules. So I'm going to have to bring my rules and my weapons. And it won't be over a bargaining table. So, if we get it, we save the world. If we don't get it, we're doomed. Because they will destroy the world, because they are addicted to self-destruction. They are aligned with self-destruction. They glorify self-destruction and call it martyrdom. And they will destroy themselves regardless. The only difference is, are we going to be on the wrong side of the fence when they do it? $5 a dog, huh? That's what I get upset about? When thousands were butchered in the streets, in their homes. Of course there's other massacres all over the world. And they're extractions and extensions of the same mindset. And if the good people of this world don't get over their own ridiculous differences to unite, we will have no force, no power to stand up to them. And I hope my voice reaches somewhere beyond this silly little phone, into some boardroom, some political room, some situation room, where people have a heart to hear something different, to hear it straight, and to do something about it. So my friends, I bless you with the clarity of consciousness and very clear filters for the information that's coming to you and through you. Because that information can give you wisdom, or it can drive you insane. Because what we're seeing is insanity indoctrinated. We're seeing insanity become so much a reality that we don't even call it insanity anymore. It's just a nation fighting for its land that was never their land. No one's taken. The Palestinians all have a place in this country. If they were good, peaceful citizens, they'd be millionaires just like half the other people that are. Because they don't appreciate the gifts they have, and they don't really honor the one God who created them. And the Jewish people have the horrible mission of removing them from this world. May our prayers be heard, our prayers for each other, our prayers for the captives, our prayers for the families to ease the suffering. This is a war for keeps. We will never be the same. We'll see you again. God bless you all.